The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rise hit a fever pitch the moment she appeared at the Kansas City Chiefs game, and she wasn't alone. Sitting beside her was none other than Taylor Swift, the world's biggest pop star, and together, they triggered an earthquake that rippled far beyond the walls of the NFL stadium. What was supposed to be another star-studded Sunday night game quickly became a defining moment for women's basketball, the WNBA, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert herself. Because in a single night, the league's tight grip on its image shattered. The cameras caught them first, Taylor cheering in her red Chiefs jacket, Caitlin laughing beside her. Two cultural powerhouses side by side. Within minutes, clips of the moment exploded across social media. Hashtags like the Swift Clark and the Taylor and Caitlin trended worldwide. Before the first quarter was over, millions were watching replays, dissecting their friendship, and drawing comparisons that no one in the WNBA's front office wanted to see. What should have been a celebration of women's sports became a nightmare for the league's leadership. Because while the world was celebrating, Cathy Engelbert was panicking. For months, she'd fought to control the WNBA's narrative, pushing the idea of team unity, equality, and a shared spotlight. She made it clear, no one player was bigger than the league. But all that vanished the second Caitlin Clark sat next to Taylor Swift. Suddenly, it wasn't about the WNBA finals or player activism or even the season itself. The story was about Caitlin, her magnetism, her influence, her crossover appeal. And Taylor's presence turned that into something no PR campaign could buy: global exposure. Inside WNBA headquarters, sources described pure chaos. Engelbert's media team scrambled to figure out what to do. Should they issue a statement, celebrating Clark's growing fame, or stay quiet to avoid accusations of favoritism? They chose silence, a silence that spoke louder than any press release ever could. Fans saw it immediately. While the NFL proudly celebrated Taylor Swift's support of Travis Kelce, the WNBA couldn't bring itself to celebrate its own superstar being seen with one of the most powerful women in entertainment. That hesitation was fatal. Sports blogs mocked Engelbert's obsession with control. Memes flooded social media showing her watching from her office as Clark and Swift stole the show. One viral post summed it up perfectly. The NFL celebrates Taylor. The WNBA hides Caitlin. Shock. It wasn't hate. It was frustration from fans who genuinely wanted the league to thrive. They knew this should have been a golden opportunity, a turning point for women's basketball. But instead, it exposed the WNBA's deepest flaw: its fear of letting a single player become too powerful. Caitlin Clark's fame had already been growing at lightning speed. She sold out arenas, shattered viewership records, and made fans care about women's basketball in a way no one had since its creation. But this moment with Taylor Swift turned her into something bigger. A crossover icon, a name recognized by people who didn't even watch basketball. For fans, it was electric. For Engelbert, it was terrifying. Because the league that once depended on collective strength was suddenly dependent on one woman's charisma. As social media exploded, brands took notice. Sponsorship teams that had previously worked through the WNBA started reaching out to Clark's camp directly. They didn't want the league, they wanted her. The numbers spoke for themselves. Her social media engagement dwarfed the league's official accounts. Her jersey outsold the rest of the WNBA combined. Every clip of her highlights went viral. For companies chasing attention, she was the investment. And with Taylor Swift's cosign, Caitlin's marketability skyrocketed beyond the league's reach. Behind closed doors, Engelbert's team knew the damage was done. They had failed to control the story. Every headline read some variation of Taylor Swift supports Caitlin Clark, not Taylor Swift supports the WNBA. That distinction was devastating. It reinforced what fans had been saying all year. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a WNBA player. She was the WNBA. And that reality didn't fit Engelbert's vision of a balanced, equal league. The reaction was swift and unforgiving. Former players called out Engelbert for missing a golden PR opportunity. "You can't script this kind of exposure," one retired star said during a podcast. "Taylor Swift just gave the league a free spotlight. and instead of celebrating it, they panicked. That quote alone reached millions, reigniting a debate about whether the WNBA's leadership was too corporate, too rigid, and too insecure to handle real fame. Meanwhile, the Swifties, Taylor's massive fan base, threw their support behind Caitlyn. They flooded WNBA comment sections demanding recognition, posting highlight clips, and declaring, "If the league won't support her, we will." It was an unprecedented wave of attention. Suddenly, millions of people who had never watched a women's basketball game were talking about it. But instead of riding the momentum, the WNBA looked like it was fighting against it. Engelbert's silence turned into the story itself. News outlets questioned why the commissioner hadn't congratulated Clark or embraced the viral moment. Sports anchors mocked her caution, calling it the biggest marketing failure in women's sports history. Even corporate sponsors reportedly began asking uncomfortable questions. Why wasn't the league celebrating the woman who had just brought them more attention than ever before? When Engelbert's team responded with bland, professional talking points, sponsors began contacting Clark's management directly. Every decision the league made backfired. Every non-statement became proof of jealousy. And the internet, ruthless and relentless, crowned Caitlin Clark as the new face of women's sports. Cathy Engelbert had lost control of her narrative completely. The WNBA wasn't driving the conversation anymore. The fans were, the sponsors were, the media was, and at the center of it all was Caitlin, calm, smiling, seemingly unaffected, while the world argued around her. By midweek, every sports network, talk show, and YouTube commentator had weighed in. The general consensus was brutal. The WNBA had no idea how to handle fame. It was the league's greatest weakness. Caitlyn's organic rise, powered by authenticity and cultural connection, had accomplished in one night what the league had spent millions trying to engineer. Even her critics admitted she had done something historic. She made people care. That was the irony of it all. The league